Question 1. Write down the number marked by the arrow. There are 10 small lines between each number. From 3,000 to 4,000, that means that each line must be 100. There's 3,500, 3,600. Part B. The number marked by this arrow, again, there are 10 small spaces between each number, meaning that each part must be 0.1. So here we go, is 1.8. Find the number 3.6 on the number line above. Here there are only 5 parts between each number, meaning that each part must be 0.2. So 3.2, 3.4, 3.6. Question 2. Here is a list of dried fruit 24 people liked best. Complete the table for the information in the tally. Here I have crossed off each one as I have tallied them up. Notice for a tally you must do 4 bars and then the 5th one is a line across. The frequency is how many the tally represents. So 5, 5, 6 and 8. Here it says draw a suitable diagram to show this information in the table. Use the space below or the grid opposite. The space below is if you decide to do a pie chart. However, it is much easier to do a bar chart. When you do a bar chart, remember there must be spaces between each bar. Each bar must be the same width. Each bar must be labelled clearly and the axes must be labelled clearly. The final mark is for making sure that you start at 0 and all the numbers up the side are equally spaced. Question 3. From the numbers in the cloud, write down a square number. You have 2 choices here. You can either have 4 or you can have 16. 4 is 2 squared and 16 is 4 squared. Write down a multiple of 7. In this case, you've only got one option, which is 21. Write down a factor of 30. You've got 2 options, 10 or 15. These are the numbers that go into 30. So only 10 and 15 go into 30. Question 4. Here's a 2-stage number machine. It multiplies by 5 and then subtracts 3. Complete the table. So 1 times 5 is 5, subtract 3 is 2. And this helps show you how to do it. When the input is 7, you do 7 times 5 is 35. Take away 3 is 32. To work backwards, we start with 47 and we will add 3 to undo this part, which gives us 50, and then divide by 5, which will give us 10. Here's a different 2-stage number machine. The input is 10. If we multiply by 3, what do we need to do here to get 60? So the answer is to add 30. Question 5. Jim's pay is £180 each week. Jim asks his boss for an increase of £20 a week. Jim's boss offers him an increase of 10%. Is the offer from Jim's boss more than Jim asked for? Well, 10% of £180 is £18. So no, Jim asked for £20 and 10% is only £18, which is less. Question 6. There are 3 counters in a bag. 1 counter is red, 1 counter is green, 1 counter is blue. Mike takes a random counter from the bag and he puts the counter back. Then Ellie takes a random counter out of the bag. Is Ellie more likely to take a blue counter from the bag than Mike? The answer is no, because since that Mike puts the counter back in the bag, then the same amount of counters will be in the bag, meaning that it will be the same probability. Write a list of all the possible combinations of the 2 counters that Mike and Ellie can take. Here it's important to realise that the counter that Mike takes can also be the counter that Ellie takes when she goes second. So we can have red and green, red and blue, or red and red. We can have green and red, green and blue, or green and green. Or we can have blue and red, blue and green, or blue and blue. Find the probability that Mike takes a blue counter and then Ellie takes a green counter. So if it's blue first and then green second, that's this one here. There is only one way of doing that out of the 9 possible outcomes. So the answer is 1/9 as a fraction. Question 7. Here's a list of numbers, work out the median. It's important to remember that when you're working out the median, it's the middle number when in order. So first of all, I've put the numbers in order. 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. There are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. So I can get 4 on one side, 4 on the other, and the middle number would be 5. Work out the mean. To do this, we add up all of the numbers above, which add up to 54, and we divide by how many numbers there are, which is 9. So the answer is 6. Question 8. Find the perimeter of the shaded shape. Here, it's important to remember that you do not count the squares around the outside, because you will count this square in each corner as extra. What we must do is count the lines that take up the outside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 is the answer. Find the area of the shaded shape. That is how many squares take up the inside of the shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the answer. Be careful that if there isn't centimetres squared written for you, you must write that and there may be a mark for it. Reflect the shaded shape in the mirror line. Here's the mirror line, so we simply reflect it over. It is 1 square away, so we need to be 1 square away again, and it's the same size shape. Question 9. Here is a cuboid. Work out the volume of that cuboid. The volume of a cuboid, or any prism, is worked out by finding the area of the cross-section, which is the area at the front, which is the same shape all the way through, and timesing it by how far back it goes. So we do 20 times 20, which is 400, and then times that by 40, which gives us 16,000. 2 times 2 is 4, times 4 is 16. Add 3 zeros, so times by 10 3 times. Question 10. You can use this rule to work out the total charge for hiring a concrete mixer. The total charge is £30 plus £8 for each day. Esme hired a concrete mixer for 4 days. Work out the total charge. Well, first of all, you have to pay the £30 plus for every day, so for 4 days, you have a remaining £8. 4 lots of 8 is 32. 30 add 32 is £62. William also hired a concrete mixer. The total charge was £110. Work out how many days William hired it for. Well, first of all, we should take off the £30 standing charge first, which leaves us with £80. And then for each day, it costs us £8. So if we divide 80 by 8, that means it must have been 10 days. We do the exact opposite of what the formula tells us. Question 11. Complete this table and write a sensible unit for each measurement. For the diameter of a football, the imperial unit will be inches. The metric unit will be centimetre. Amount of fuel in a car fuel tank. Again, in metric that would be litres, or imperial that would be gallons. Change 4 kilograms to grams. There are 1,000 grams in a kilogram, so we times by 1,000, which is 4,000 grams. And change 3,500 millilitres to litres. Again, there are 1,000 millilitres in a litre, but this time we need to divide by 1,000 because there's 1,000 millilitres in a litre, so we get 3.5. Question 12. The table gives information about the cost of posting parcels. The maximum weight of a parcel is given here, and the cost for that weight is given there. That means that if a parcel is less than 2 kilograms, we will still have to pay this amount. If it's between 2 and 4, we would have to pay this amount, etc. Umar has to post some parcels. He has 3 parcels that weigh 6 kilograms, 1 at 10, 1 at 3 and 1 at 1.2. He has £55 to spend. Can he post the parcels? Well, the 6 kilogram parcels will cost £9.58 each, so 3 times £9.58 will be £28.74. Remember, this is a calculator paper, so you can use a calculator for that. The 10 kilogram one is £12.61, reading off here. The 3 kilogram one is between 2 and 4, so we have to pay the £7.06 because this is the maximum weight of the parcel. So anything between 2 and 4 will be charged £7.06. And the 1.2, again, is just below 2 kilograms, but we still must pay the £4.41. And if we add these up, I've done it in a written method here, but you can use a calculator, which is £52.82, and therefore, yes, you can. You must write your final answer at the end. Question 13. Write down the letters of 2 congruent triangles. Congruent means that they must be exactly the same. So that's A and C are exactly the same. Write down the letter of an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle is where 2 sides are equal. That is shape B. Question C. Find the area of triangle E. You've got 1 full square and 2 half squares. So the answer is 2 centimetres squared. Again, you've been given the units, but make sure that you put those in if you aren't. Question 14. Here's a diagram of a wall. Halima wants to cover all of the wall with tiles. The tiles are squares with sides of 20 centimetres. The tiles are sold in packs. There are 10 tiles in a pack. Each pack costs £34.99. Halima only has £1,000 to spend. Can she buy enough packs of tiles to cover the wall. Well, the way I would do this, there are many ways of doing this, but I would figure out how many tiles it takes to go across and how many tiles up. Now, if it's 20 centimetres per tile, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 means it will take 5 tiles to make 1 metre, which will be 20 tiles for 4 metres. And again, if there's 5 tiles in a metre, that means there'll be 15 tiles up the side for the 3 metres. If we then do 15 times 20, that will tell us that there is 300 tiles needed. Again, you've got to calculate if you need it. If each pack holds 10 tiles, if we divide 300 by 10, that means we need 30 packs. 30 packs at £34.99, again using a calculator, is £1,049.70. So no, she cannot afford to tile the wall. Again, it's really important that you write what you found. Question 15. The diagram shows part of a net of a cube. Add 1 square to the diagram to complete the net. In this case, there are 4 possible answers. I've put the extra square here, but it could have gone anywhere on any of these sides here. 2 opposite faces of the cube are to be shaded. On the diagram, shade 2 faces to show how this can be done. Again, I've chosen the bottom and the top, but we could have chosen these 2, or we could have chosen these 2. There are more than one possible answer. Write down the number of edges that the cube has. The number of edges that a cube has are the lines that you draw the cube with. So I've actually drawn it out here to help me. If you count the lines that we draw, there are 12, including the ones behind. Question 16. Ashley wants to buy some tins of paint. He finds out the cost of paint at 2 shops. Ashley needs 9 tins of paint and he wants to get all the tins of paint from the same shop. He wants to pay the cheapest possible total price. Which of the 2 shops should he buy from? You will notice that I've set it up so you've got Paint or Us on one side and Decor Mart on the other. This will help us separate our 2 answers and keep control of what we're doing. At Paint or Us, you buy 2 tins and get the 3rd free. This means he needs to buy 6 tins in total and he will get 3 free. So 6 lots of £2.19 is £13.14. And at Decor Mart, he doesn't get any free, but he does get 10% off. So 9 times £1.80. Remember, there are 9 tins that he needs to buy this time because he needs to buy all of them. It's £16.20. 10% is £1.62. And if we take that off, it's £14.58. Again, we must write that Paint or Us is cheaper. Question 17. The table gives some information about the birds' policies in a garden one day. Complete an accurate pie chart. When it says accurate, you must be within 2 degrees when you are measuring the angles. First of all, we need to add up how many birds that she saw. So if we add up the frequency column, we get that she saw 72 birds. A full circle is 360 degrees, so we do 360 divided by 72, which means that each bird represents 5 degrees. 15 magpies at 5 degrees each will mean that the section of the pie chart for magpies must be 75 degrees. I can check that because the magpie section was already drawn for you. If I put my protractor on, you line it up with the centre in the middle of your pie chart, and this line must be exactly on the line drawn for you. You can see that it's on 75 degrees. 10 lots of 5 is 50, 20 lots of 5 is 100, and 27 lots of 5 is 135. I've just done a little check to make sure that I've worked these out correctly by adding these up, and 360 degrees is right. You've then got to draw each section accurately and label the sections. It's really important. There's maybe a mark for labelling. So this is 75 degrees, 100 degrees, and 135 degrees. This last section you won't need to measure because it will just be left, but I am going to measure it just to check that the others are accurate enough. And you can see that it goes exactly to 135, so I've been accurate enough. Question 18. If y equals 4x plus c, and x is 7.5 and c is 5.4, work out the value of y. So we need to do 4 times 7.5, so 4x means 4 times x. Add on the 5.4. 4 7.5s are 30, add on the 5.4 is 35.4. If y is 18.8 and c is minus 2.4, work out the value of x. Well, if we put that into the formula here, we've got 18.8 equals 4x minus 2.4. If we add 2.4 to both sides, we get 21.2 equals 4x, and then we need to divide by 4 to work out what x is, so x is 5.3. Again, you have a calculator for each step, but it's important that you write down what you're doing. Question 19. It takes Tom 1 hour to lay 30 bricks. He has to lay 180 bricks. Tom starts to lay bricks at 9 AM. He has half an hour break at 11 and he has another half hour break at 1. What time should he stop finishing? Well, 180 divided by 30 means it should take him 6 hours. However, 6 hours plus 2 half-hour breaks is an extra hour, so it should take him 7 hours in total. If he didn't have his breaks, 9 AM plus 6 hours will get him to 3 PM, but the 2 half-hour breaks is an extra hour, so he will finish at 4 PM. Use a calculator to work out this. To put that into a calculator, you must press the square root button, 20.4, the divide button, and then the bottom needs to be in brackets. So 6.2 times 0.48 equals, and my full calculator display is 1.5176868. Do not round if it asks for the full answer. Question 21. Two companies, Barry's Bricks and Bricks R Us, deliver bricks. The graph shows the delivery cost of bricks from both companies. Prakash wants Bricks R Us to deliver some bricks. He lives 2 miles away from Bricks R Us. Write down the delivery cost. So if we go to 2 miles on the distance axis, we go up and read off. It's just between 50 and 60 and it's 3 small squares up. Each small square is worth 2 because there are only 5 between 0 and 10, 10 and 20, etc. So that is £56. John needs to have some bricks delivered. He lives 4 miles from Barry's Bricks and 5 miles from Bricks R Us. Write down the difference between the two delivery costs. This time we need to work out the two delivery costs. So 4 miles from Barry's Bricks, so we go to 4 miles up to Barry's Bricks line and read off that's £50. Again, it's important to put these lines on to help you, and it's important to use a rule and do it accurately. For Bricks R Us, it's 5 miles away, so you go up to the line again and read off. This time it's between 2 squares, and you'll notice that it's £65 if you do it accurately. So the difference is £15. 1 mark for each of those. Question 22. Hannah has a biased coin. She's going to throw the coin once. The probability of getting heads is 0.7. Now, we are told that it's a biased coin. That means that it doesn't have to be 0.5 heads, 0.5 tails. Work out the probability of getting tails. Well, there are only 2 options, heads or tails. So we can take 0.7 from a whole one. We get 0.3 as a probability of getting tails. Jamal is going to throw this coin 200 times. Work out an estimate for the number of heads Jamal will get. It's an estimate because we don't know exactly. Probability is just a prediction. So that's why they use the word estimate. But 0.7 of the time you will get heads on this coin because it's biased. So 200 times 0.7 is 140. That's the same as 70% of the time, which is 140. Question 23. A, B and C are 3 service stations on a motorway. They are 25 miles apart each, as shown on the diagram. Aisha drives along the motorway from A to C. She drives at an average speed of 50 miles an hour from A to B and at 60 miles an hour from B to C. Work out the difference in time that Aisha takes to drive from A to B and B to C. So from A to B, we know that speed equals distance over time. If we rearrange that and take t on the other side, it becomes a multiply, and therefore we have to divide by speed. So we get the formula, time is distance divided by speed. The distance is 25 miles at 50 miles an hour, which gives me 0.5 hours, which is 30 minutes if we times that by 60. So 0.5 times 60 will give you 30 minutes. From B to C, again using the same formula, 25 divided by 60 gives me 0.4166666. Now if I times that by 60, because there are 60 minutes in an hour, that will give me 25 minutes. Again, we're asked for the difference. So the difference between the 2 times is 5 minutes. Question 24. This is a really crucial question that to get 4 marks, you must write reasons as you go. It says, we've got all these angles on the diagrams, as shown. Calculate the size of angle X. You must give reasons. So angle ADC, we know must be 60 degrees. Because this is a parallelogram, the arrow is showing that it's a parallelogram, co-interior angles add up to 180. So these 2 angles, this one and this one, will add up to 180. Or you could say that opposite angles in a parallelogram are equal, and therefore 120 and 120, 60 and 60. Therefore, angle EDC here must be 22. So if we take 38 off 60, we get 22. Angle DEC is 139, because if this angle is 41 and this is a straight line, we take 41 off 180. So again, our reason would be because angles on a straight line up to 180, we get 139. We've now got a triangle, so we're going to use the reason angles on a triangle up to 180, and we're going to take these two, 139 and 22, off 180, which gives us that x must be 19. Question 25. N is an integer. Integer means a whole number. List the possible values of n. This means that n must be greater than or equal to -1, but less than 4. So I can have -1, 0, 1, 2 and 3, but I can't have 4. So these are all the integer possibilities. Write down the inequality shown in the diagram. Well, x, or if you want to stick with n, I've written x, but it doesn't matter, it just means a number, is going from -4 to 3. However, the empty circle and the arrow going this way means that it must be greater than -4, not equal to. And it has to be less than 3, and because it's coloured in, it can be equal to. So we put the extra line on. Solve the equation 3y minus 2 is greater than 5. We can pretend that the greater than sign is just an equal sign. Do not change it to an equal sign because you will lose marks, but you just do it in the same way as solving a normal equation. So we're going to add 2 to both sides, which gives us 3y is greater than 7. And then we're going to divide by 3, and it's perfectly acceptable to leave your answer as y is greater than 7 over 3. But you can write that as y is greater than 2 1/3. There are 2 3's in 7 with 1 left over, so 2 1/3. Question 26. Factorise 4x plus 10y. First, we need to look at the numbers. So the biggest number that goes into 4 and 10 is 2. Then we look at the letters. Because both letters are different, we can't pull a common factor out. So we pull the factor of 2 out. To get back to 4x, we need 2x's inside the brackets. And to get back to 10y, we need 5y's in the brackets. Factorise x squared plus 7x. X squared means x times x. And 7x means 7 times x. So the common factor here is just x. To get back to x squared, we need another x in there. So x times x gives me x squared. And then we need 7. X times 7 is 7x. Question 27. Translate the triangle by the vector -3, 2. The top number tells us whether to go left and right. So because it's a minus, we're going to go left 3. So I've chosen the top corner and I've counted that I've gone left 3. And then the bottom number tells us up and down. Because it's +2, we're going to go up 2. So from here, we're going to go up 2. So this top corner will be there. We then just draw the shape in exactly how it was. So 2 down, 1 diagonally across, and then join it back up.